Hello everyone, this is your fellow watch enthusiast, Mike Watch. Today, I'll be discussing with you the V2 version of the two-tone black Submariner released by VSF Factory. The main upgrade in the V2 version is its weight adjustment. Let's get straight to the point, I'll weigh it for you. For the V1 version, a Submariner's weight is around 160 plus grams. I remember it was about 164 grams. Now, let's look at the V2 version with the added weight. It can reach 1, let's place it flat. 186.4 grams. So it's about 20 grams heavier than the V1. Therefore, if you want to distinguish between V1 and V2, the first thing you can do is check its weight. Next, let's talk about some other details. I've discussed the two-tone black and two-tone blue models many times before, so for this one, let's just do a quick recap. About 2 years ago, I reviewed the VS two-tone black. I've talked about the Submariner models and mentioned an issue. The luminous peep on the early VS models was a very stark, pure white. Chalky white color. But now, it was upgraded last year, I think at the end of last year. It has been upgraded to this lustrous, jade-like color. You can see for yourself, let's zoom in a bit. It has this lustrous, jade-like feel, right? It's somewhat semi-translucent, not a pure white design. The entire bezel is ceramic, and it features these gold-filled markings. Crucially, these gold markings generally won't tarnish or turn gray, which is a significant improvement. Moreover, all the latest batches of gold models from VS have had their gold tone readjusted. It's this lustrous feel, you can sense it. It's not a bright, brassy yellow, it's more of a light, champagne gold color. A very lustrous feel. Now look at the crown. It's not yellowish, it's a light gold color. If you have a side-by-side comparison, it becomes much more obvious. Yes, it's this light gold color. This is just a protective film. If you peel it off, it's clean. This part also has a protective film, the light gold color. For this color, at a glance, there's not much difference from the genuine one's color. It's a light gold. If it were a brassy yellow, like those from smaller factories, the color difference would be very obvious. As for the bracelets and links, you can feel that the center part of the links will not expose the steel color. Right, we're talking about these gold center links. They won't expose the steel underneath, you can see it, right? This is consistent with the genuine manufacturing process. Another point I always mention for the two-tone black, to see if it's from a top-tier factory. You can check this spot and this spot to see if they are correct. The bracelets and link is a three-piece construction. This inner part here, it's three separate pieces. On incorrect versions from smaller factories, this part is a single solid piece. It's just one bar going across, not divided into three separate links. The steel and gold sections are constructed as separate pieces. This design detail, even the VS from a couple of years ago, hadn't synchronized this. Now it's all synchronized. So, currently, the VS version really doesn't have any major flaws. And I've shown you the weight adjustment. Now for the details on the side, let's briefly discuss them. The bezel is a unidirectional rotating bezel. You can listen to the sound. It's a very crisp sound. For top-tier factories, the craftsmanship of assembly like this is flawless. Okay, now let's look at the date window. It has a 2.5x cyclops, and the date font has serifs. The numbers 1 and both have a small tail like serif. It also features a solid center post for the hands. You can see the hands post is a solid. Also, if you look at the hands, they are Mercedes, and my knee hands, they are all 3D applied, buff style hands. They have a three-dimensional quality, not just flat pieces of metal. The 6, 9, and triangular markers all have rounded, polished edges. Let's use the 6 o'clock marker as an example. See, it has a rounded edge polish. It's not a sharp, vertical cut, it has a curved design. There's no issue with this detail work. It's completely in line with the genuine factory's process. Right, you can feel it. Then there's the laser-etched coronet at the 6 o'clock position. On a black dial, it's relatively easy to see. But if you choose a Panda Daytona or a white dial model, the 6 o'clock coronet is much harder to spot. You can see ... I'll just find an angle and explain it. You can see it from this angle, right? Or you can use a flashlight, let me demonstrate. I'm using my phone's flashlight. You angle it at 45 degrees, and shine it on this spot, you can see it, right? It's a laser-etched coronet composed of 152 dots. Right at the 6 o'clock position, just use a 45-degree angle, shine a flashlight from the 10 o'clock marker, and it becomes very clear. I had a client before who received the watch and didn't know how to look for it, and accused me of sending an incorrect version. When I got it back, I immediately had him confirm the serial number on the record, and then I sent him a confirmation video. Sure, it's worth discussing this. Let's briefly look at the record engraving. I'll just briefly cover these details. The record engraving ends with 911, it ends with 911. And starts with 5R. Let's check from this angle. Yes, starts with 5R. And 91 is the ending. I don't usually teach you to identify a watch by this serial number, because the main things to check are the movement and the details, including the weight. That's sufficient. As for the rehold engraving, even the knockoffs that just slap on a brand name can replicate the beginning and ending serial numbers. It's better to look at the details. Also, regarding the bracelets and link area, you can feel that the bracelet sits slightly lower than the lugs on both sides, creating a step. Yes, it creates a step. This design is consistent with the genuine one. Let's look at this side as well. It's the same principle. Right, if you run your finger over it, you can feel it. It's not a flush design. The bracelet sits slightly lower than the lugs, creating a step. This is called a step design. The crystal also has a recessed treatment. There is a noticeable gap between the bezel and the crystal. You can feel it. Well, after the recessed treatment, the crystal is still slightly higher than the bezel. You need to understand this point. And the gold part of the entire bezel has this lustrous, light gold color, a very lustrous, light gold. The texture of the crown, the polished edges, these are all fine. The texture of the bracelet. Let's take a quick look at the clasp, and that should be it. Finally, I'll open the case back to show you the Dandong 3 to 3-5 movement. The Dandong 3 to 3-5 movement is another key point for identification. Let's open the safety catch on the clasp. It's a single solid piece, with no welding points. Open it. Inside the clasp, look at its Rolex logo engraving. You can see it has the flat top design. Right, now look at this side. Also a flat top design. The clasp code is A99, and the anti-counterfeit dots are there. The dots in the olive-shaped logo are present, like in the O, E, S, and the bottom of the A. There are for small dots. Okay, and this part of the clasp has a micro-adjustment function. Inside the clasp, the brushing you can feel it. Actually, the Submariner has been discussed to death. It's a classic, everyone has talked about it a lot. You open this part of the clasp, and you can pull it out to extend it. This is the bracelet extension design. If the bracelet is too tight, you can pull this part. After pulling, press it back in, and you're good. This is a very convenient micro-adjustment. This is the well-known Dandong 3 to 3-5 movement. And everyone should be quite familiar with its overall architecture. I'll mainly discuss how to differentiate if it's really a VS factory Dandong 3 to 3-5 movement. First, you can look at this area below the balance wheel. There's an engraved code, and it starts with S. Currently, they almost all start with ES9. ES8 is less common. Starting with S is fine, and below the balance wheel, look at the engraving. It has a fingerprint-like sunburst finish, not a simple circular graining. Let me find an angle for you to see. You can see it from this angle, right? It has a fingerprint-like finish. The second point is to look at this reversing wheel. On the Dandong 3 to 3-5, below this tungsten carbide engraving, this model is the reversing wheel. In the normal winding position, or when fully wound, you can see it sits lower than the bridge plate. It's recessed. Right, then, if you pull the crown out one click to adjust the date or the hands, it will rise up. Let me demonstrate for you. Gently pull it out. See, it rises. Now let's press it back in, and you can see. See, it's a functional component. On the Shanghai 3235 movement, it's just a small decorative hole. You can screenshot the entire architecture. You can screenshot from this angle, and then from this angle, and compare. That should be enough. Another thing to mention is the 7 jewels versus 27 jewels. Actually, the VS factory ships them randomly now. Sometimes it's 7 jewels, sometimes it's 27 ball bearings, which is rarer. For the 27 ball bearings, maybe 1 in 10 watches has it. I can't specifically pick one for you based on this request. It's not possible. It's all random now. Another thing is, let me explain its overall winding efficiency. You can see this click spring wheel here. If you turn it counterclockwise, it will click out. But when you turn it clockwise to wind it, it retracts and engages all the gears to wind the mainspring. Let me turn the movement around, and you can see for yourselves. See, all the connecting gears are functional, including the barrel. This is quite interesting to watch. See it pop out. That's basically the principle. Moreover, this model, when fully wound, can achieve a power reserve of about 72 hours. You can also observe the overall movement, engraving, and architecture. I'll briefly explain. First, look at this shock absorber. It's a Kiev-style central bridge shock absorber. The small jewel is on the right side. The only difference from the genuine is this regulator design. It has an extra regulator arm. This is called a regulated design, whereas the genuine has a free-sprung balance without a regulator arm. But the rest of the architecture and finishing is done very well. Also, the stability of this Dandong 3 to 3-5 movement is exceptionally high. You can also feel the other tungsten carbide engravings. Right, there's not much else to say about the rest. Finally, I'll demonstrate how to adjust the time, and then I'll do a wrist shot for you to see. The Submariner has a screw-down crown design. You unscrew it, and once it pops out automatically, this is the winding position. Right, then you pull it out one click to adjust the date. And you can see that the thickness of each date numeral is consistent, and they all have serifs, including the 2 and the 5 fonts. Okay, then pull it out one more click to adjust the hands. The 3235 movement is quick set forward, reverse hands. The 3135 is quick set forward, forward hands. This one's time setting direction is consistent with the genuine model. We turn counterclockwise, and the L hand moves clockwise, and it has an instantaneous state change. It's now 12 PM noon. Let's go around one more time. See, instantaneous state change. It can also set the date backwards. You can try this out. Personally, I feel that setting the date backwards might cause the date or gears to wear out or get damaged. You can test that the function is there, but don't use it for extended periods. After setting, press the crown back to the winding position, then push and turn clockwise simultaneously. Screw it down tightly, and then you can take it swimming or snorkeling without any issues. Okay, finally, a wrist shot for you to see. Okay, my wrist circumference is 16.5 centimeters. Wearing this 41mm new generation two-tone black Submariner is no problem at all. You can get a feel for it. I think for the two-tone black, if you're considering a two-tone model, I would still recommend it. And now it has the weight adjustment. Since the gold part isn't excessive, I don't really recommend full gold models, because a full gold bracelet can easily get scratched on the clasp or the bracelet itself, which can lead to fading or color loss, especially with heavy impacts. So for a two-tone model like this, if you want a touch of elegance and luxury, the two-tone black or two-tone blue are worth considering, especially now that VS has adjusted the gold to lustrous, light gold color and has added the counterweight. Overall, the execution is very well done. Okay, that's all for today's review. See you next time. Bye bye.